Hi everyone and welcome to Uncharted Collection, Drake's Deception, Brutal Difficulty Walkthrough. This is chapter 20, Caravan. And this is another long chapter, guys. In the previous chapter I said that this was just this section when we were have to kind of like Indiana Jones, this fucking game where it is obviously taken from the Indiana Jones games, and I don't say that in a bad way whatsoever. But this can be hard because it is unbrutal. The damage that there is a difference here in this game. See the damage that the bikes are making. The damage are not on brutal difficulty. Did you see that? This is really strange, but I think it's a rather nice balance. The bikes that are in this section, when they shoot you, is on crushing. But when the enemies that are in the cars, like the one that I just killed, shoot you, they are on brutal. So they can kill you instantly, but the guys on the bikes cannot. But nevertheless, they are really dangerous because they are on crushing values of damage, and that is something that feels like incredibly fair. Like this is fair, because the guys on the motorcycles, if they were on brutal difficulty, see, almost dead right there. If the guys on the motorcycles were on brutal difficulty, I would have died so easily. Because they shoot you and there's nothing you can do. They have really good aim, but they didn't do that. They went for the balance in this section, but it feels disconnected because they do have some nice touches in some of the sections, like in this one, and then you're suddenly thrown into the fucking boat again. See the boat chapter when you are hanging upside down and you are immediately killed, and there's of course the unfair checkpoints that murder you instantly. So it's like this disconnect that maybe they try to balance the game, but someone failed here, and maybe they weren't the ones who failed. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, I think this whole section is on crushing difficulty, because I'm getting shot at and I'm not dying. See that guy? He's shooting me. Oh, but that's a mounted machine gun, right? Oh, okay. No, maybe not. But this is obviously balanced towards you, towards not frustration. So, but some other parts, they're just ridiculously unfair. So, I don't know. I want to say I wish the game were entirely balanced, because if this difficulty were balanced entirely, it would have been more enjoyable. There is a lot of frustration in this difficulty, no doubt. And I wanted to talk a little about the difficulty, since we are on the closing chapters of the third game and we are closing the Brutal Trilogy. At the moment that I'm recording this, I can safely say that I've beaten the trilogy. I've beaten Brutal Trilogy. So I'm really glad to be able to brought the walkthrough entirely. When I began Uncharted 1 Brutal, for me it looked like a fucking incredibly long and almost really hard walkthrough to make. Like all the chapters, on the difficulty, all the three games. Like I feared that the amount of work that it would take me, it will likely take me like months, but not at all. It took actually less than a month to end the 3 games. And even though I died close to 600 times in each one, I managed to beat it. So what's the best advice that I can give you overall, in the game overall, brutal difficulty is not that much about good aiming, although it helps a lot. But it's not really that much about good aiming. It's not really that much about knowing the spawns, knowing the triggers, knowing where to get cover, using the wall. It's all about everything that I said, yes, but it's not the point that will get you through brutal difficulty, because brutal difficulty is frustrating, unfair, highly repetitive in the amount of deaths that you're going to take. Luckily, the respawn for each death is instant. Like each time you die, you respawn at the checkpoint instantly, so there's not much waiting. Imagine if there were like a minute or 2 minutes of waiting between deaths, because the game's just loading. I don't think I could have done this if that was so, but luckily Naughty Dog delivers a game that has no loading screens beyond the initial one. So, a really incredible trilogy, and what I'm just losing the point. I'm just losing the point. So, what is important? Number one, patience. You need patience, guys, and this part is really hard, but look at what I'm doing and you'll get through it. You need patience. Number one for brutal, patience. If you are one of those gamers that have, I don't wanna say any word that's exclusively like stupid, like hardcore, old gamers, hardcore, not casual, or all those words that are usually used to discriminate something. But if you are a guy who has patience, there are better chances. That was funny. There are better chances that you will get through brutal. If you are a guy who doesn't mind dying, this is essential in games, and doesn't get frustrated easily, because you'll still get frustrated in the long run, but doesn't get frustrated easily, you'll beat brutal. If you beat Uncharted 1, if you can get to the end of Uncharted 1 on brutal, you can beat Uncharted 2 and 3. There is nothing worse than Uncharted 1. What else? If you quit, and I don't mean that in the wrong way, if you are a quitter, and again, I don't mean that in the wrong way, if you just don't have the mental strength to die like 60 fucking times in a single checkpoint, and maybe because the only reason that you're dying is because the game is really unfair with you, and you're just one of those, you're just one of those people that likes to play less serious difficulties, right? Like games like Skyrim, Fallout, and just enjoy the games, enjoy the enemies, enjoy the difficulty that you're in, but not get like a brick wall on your fucking face, because that's what brutal is. It's a brick wall that you have to disarm that brick wall, brick by brick, and it's not an easy task. But it's not all about aiming. That's what I want to say. It's not all about your ability in third-person cover shooters. Number one, you have to be intelligent to get through this game, because you have to play different. You have to play really different from a normal cover shooter. Second, you have to have patience, real patience, not the patience that just dissolves in the 10th death. Patience. overall, you have to be a patient person. Number 3, mental strength. That is that's really important. The times that I was raging with this game, and raging fucking hard, and just like holding the controller in my hands and watching the TV and not believing what the fuck I was dying from, especially on those checkpoints that are really unfair. But see, the thing is about my personality is that the games that get me angry to that level, the games that make me rage, like Metal Gear Rising. I love Metal Gear Rising. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I do think that my walkthrough of my no damage walkthrough is one of the best walkthroughs that I have on my channel. But I raged like a motherfucker, especially on the lobby fight, which was tremendously difficult. But I eventually got it, and I just don't give up. That's the difference, and it's simple. It's a simple difference. I don't give up in games because they are my passion. They are my number one hobby. I mean, other people just like go to the parks and go to movies. I watch movies, but I love going to the cinema. But like my priority when I have free time is playing video games. So if I quit easily in a difficult video game that I got myself into because no one asked me to do this walkthrough, I decided to do it, I would feel incomplete. I am an obsessive person in that matter. Like this is my mind. I'm going to put you a little for a few seconds inside my mind, so you can maybe understand. Like, I bought Uncharted collection, right? And I knew brutal difficulty was coming. So I see all the difficulties. I see brutal blurred out. That means that I have to unlock in crushing. So I go straight to crushing, and I unlock brutal. And at that moment, if I wouldn't beat brutal, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Like owning the game and not beating brutal. Because every time I will get to that screen that says brutal, that I can select brutal, but I can't, like it is too much to me, or I quit at some point because it is too difficult, I would have to sell the game. Because I can see a difficulty that is harder than crushing in the example of Uncharted, or in any game, that is the hardest difficulty, and not being able to beat it if I like the game. If I like the game, I have to beat the hardest difficulty, or I don't own the game. That's my reasoning. I don't know if that qualifies me. If that qualifies me, excuse me, as a hardcore gamer. But that's part of my brain functioning. That's part of what I think. And the satisfaction, that's the bad part, guys. that's really the bad part. But the good part is that when I finally beat these difficulties, because I keep trying, I don't give up. I was saying before, if I get mad, if a game gets me this level of mad when I rage, I know I'm going to beat it eventually, because I'm never going to quit. Now if a game bores me, if I'm bored, if I grab a game, like let's just say, I don't want to trash other games, as I almost died, or I don't know how, but I don't want to trash other games. Let's see, I don't know, the Fallouts, the games that don't have real difficulties, right? At least not like this, and not like Platinum games, for example, that I really like. Games that you put on hard difficulty and they are not hard at all, you know. And it's most of the games are like this. So me having trouble finding a name is not really It just says that I just don't have them in my radar anymore. But if I'm buying a difficult game, I'm going to beat the highest difficulty, and if I can't, I will never put a walkthrough on my channel. You wouldn't have seen chapter 1. And oh, look at this motherfucker rushing me. Nice, Sully. He did something there. So yeah, that's kind of what is my thinking about games, how my brain functions. And though I start walkthroughs without knowing if I will ever beat them, and I was really worried in Metal Gear Rising, guys. I was really fucking worried in Metal Gear Rising because that lobby fight was something that I had to do no damage, and I had no. I mean, every single instance of that lobby fight, I think it's chapter 4 or part 4. I don't know how. Episode maybe 4. I don't know how I named them, but the mission 4 maybe. I don't just remember. But that first lobby when the Grad attacks at the end, Jesus Christ! I was stuck there for 2 days, and I didn't know. I didn't know if I could ever get it. It was one of those moments that I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to cancel the walkthrough." I really pondered the situation. I remember tweeting Big Benedict about it. I'm going to have to cancel the walkthrough because there is no way I can defeat the Grad without taking damage. Until I found out the strategy that is actually featured in that video, and then I could do it. And it was incredibly difficult anyways, but it was doable because at that moment I thought it was undoable, and I got really worried. But the good part, that's the point that I'm trying to make, the good part of all of this brain functioning, that I don't know if it can be called like that, is the satisfaction that comes when I end this walkthroughs. The satisfaction when I saw the brutal that I tweeted, the brutal pop-up on Uncharted 1, on Uncharted 2, and on this one. It was like really something that you don't feel anymore in these games, in the industry nowadays, when the games are so easy, like Assassin's Creed and Fallout and all the bullshit that gets released that has no real difficulty. Like, this is probably the most difficult game that came out this year, and I will say this one and Transformers Devastation, the most difficult games that came out this year. And because you're trusted in situations that you have to react, and there is no witch time here. There is no sometimes there is no cover, like the water level. Sometimes it all depends on your reflexes and on prioritizing enemies and being good at shooting fast and aiming on their heads. Sometimes it comes to that, yes, but primarily is patience, is not quitting, is keep trying. If you are someone that keeps trying and doesn't quit easily and loves video games, you're gonna get through Brutal. It shouldn't be something that scares you. Having finished this, I think these 3 walkthroughs again are some of the best stuff that I did in my channel so far. I have a lot of stuff to do that I want to do, that is all games, and I have a lot of new games coming. And don't worry, this is not going to be a channel update, and each time that you see an edit like the one that's coming right here, it's because I died and the game gave me a new checkpoint. See, this is the new checkpoint, so that's the only reason why you see me maybe fighting some of the same enemies, because I want to show you where the checkpoints are. So, as I was saying, there are a lot of new games coming, but there are also a lot of old games, and I always going to gravitate towards the most difficult that I can find, right? The reason that what I talked about this in this entire video is because the last two chapters I really want to talk about them because they can be a little difficult, and this one, even though it's hard because it's long, this is a long fight, you have a lot of cover here, guys. I don't think you're gonna have a problem in this chapter. If you follow what I've been doing here, even less so. We are almost done. I think we have to kill those snipers that are over there. I'm going to approach them from the left because there is more cover from the left side. And I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank my subscribers again for watching all my videos, for watching this walkthrough. If you got to this chapter and you watch each and every single chapter, I applaud you, sir, and I thank you. And this entire walkthrough goes to my subscribers, and I want to really appreciate the most voice subscribers, Amir Deus, who is a really cool guy who always talks in my videos, comments on them. I wanna thank Taysin, that sometimes comments as well. I'm talking about Uncharted specifically, and I know Amir is doing finish Uncharted 1, and I think he's gonna get into Uncharted 2 or Uncharted 3, and I wish you the best luck, Amir. I really do. And remember, guys, I mentioned that in Uncharted 2, but I'm going to mention it here. Next year, when Dark Souls 3 comes out, I'm going to do the first walkthrough, and it's going to be a normal walkthrough of the game, right? But the second walkthrough is going to be a co-op walkthrough. So if any of you wants to do that with me, if you are one of my subscribers and you want to be in my co-op walkthrough, and it's going to be a challenge co-op walkthrough, so get ready, guys, because we're gonna do it SL1. There is no middle ground on that. We're gonna go hardcore on that motherfucking game. So I need someone that would like to do that with me. Would like to torture yourself together with me on a really difficult game like Dark Souls, and go through the game cooperatively. And you need to be a subscriber, of course. And if you don't want to talk, but because we could do communication over Skype or whatever, but if you don't, even through the game, if the game has communication, but if you don't want to talk, if you want to do this but you don't want your voice to come out in the video, we can still talk, and I will record everything. We will just not do it live, because my thinking is doing it live and then editing all the majority of the deaths, not all of them, because we're going to leave some of the deaths in, and then leaving the win. So if that's something that you would like, send me a private message on Twitter or on my on my YouTube channel, and just let me know. I'm going to buy Dark Souls 3, and I would like to do that with you. So thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see each other on chapter 21 and almost the end of the game. Take care.
That's all of them.
Hope so.